Welcome! In this video, we will explore HTML ARIA attributes. ARIA stands for Accessible Rich Internet Applications. It's all about making the web accessible for everyone, regardless of their abilities. So, what exactly is ARIA? ARIA, which stands for Accessible Rich Internet Applications, is a set of attributes. These attributes define ways to make web content and applications more accessible to people with disabilities. ARIA supplements HTML to provide additional information for screen readers and other assistive technologies. When should you use ARIA? Well, here's the first rule of ARIA. If you can use a native HTML element, use it instead. Use ARIA when native HTML semantics don't provide enough information, when creating complex user interface components like tabs and sliders, when enhancing dynamic content updates, and when describing relationships between elements. Avoid ARIA when native HTML elements can provide the same semantics, when you're not updating dynamic states properly, when you don't fully understand the accessibility implications, and when you're trying to fix poor HTML structure. Let's talk about ARIA roles. ARIA roles define what an element is or does in the user interface. They communicate the purpose of an element to assistive technologies when HTML semantics aren't sufficient. Roles are added using the role attribute with a specific value. For example, you might use the role navigation to indicate a navigation menu, or the role button to identify a clickable element. Here are some common ARIA roles that you might find useful. First, the banner role, which identifies the main header of a page, containing site branding and primary navigation. The code example is header role equals banner / header. Next, the navigation role, which identifies a section of the page intended for navigational elements. The code example is nav role equals navigation / nav. Then the main role, which identifies the main content area of the document. The code example is main role equals main / main. The complementary role identifies a section that supports the main content but could stand alone, like a sidebar. The code example is aside role equals complementary / aside. The content info role identifies a footer area containing information about the parent document. The code example is footer role equals content info / footer. Finally, the button role identifies an element that should be treated as a clickable button. The code example is div role equals button tab index equals 0, click me / div. Now let's discuss ARIA states and properties. These attributes communicate element states and relationships to assistive technologies. Some common ARIA states include ARIA checked, which indicates the current check state of checkboxes, radio buttons, and toggles. The code example is div role equals checkbox, ARIA checked equals true / div. Also, ARIA expanded, which indicates if a control is expanded or collapsed. The code example is button ARIA expanded equals false, show more / button. And ARIA hidden, which indicates if an element is visible or hidden from assistive technologies. The code example is div ARIA hidden equals true / div. Some common ARIA properties include ARIA label, which defines a string value that labels an element. The code example is button ARIA label equals close dialog times / button. Also, ARIA label by, which identifies the element or elements that label the current element. The code example is div id equals label name / div input ARIA label by equals label. And ARIA describe by, which identifies the element or elements that describe the current element. The code example is input ARIA describe by equals pw hint, div id equals pw hint, must be 8+ characters / div. Let's explore ARIA live regions. ARIA Live regions allow developers to mark sections of the page that will be updated dynamically. When content changes within a live region, screen readers announce these changes to users without requiring them to move focus. The ARIA Live attribute has three possible values: off, which is the default, meaning updates are not announced; polite, which announces changes when the user is idle; and assertive, which announces changes immediately. Use assertive sparingly. For polite announcements like status updates, the code might look like this: div aria live equals polite, aria atomic equals true. Your changes have been saved, /div. For assertive announcements like critical alerts, the code might look like this: div aria live equals assertive role equals alert, error, form submission failed, /div. Additional live region attributes include div aria live equals polite, aria atomic equals true, aria relevant equals additions text, loading results, /div. Let's examine ARIA for complex user interface patterns. ARIA is crucial for making interactive components accessible. For tabs, the code block would look like this: div class equals tabs, div role equals tab list, button role equals tab aria selected equals true aria controls equals panel id equals tone flash button div id equals panel role equals tab panel aria label by equals tab 1. Content for tab on flashy /div. For modal dialog, the code block would look like this: button aria has pop-up equals dialog, open dialog /button, div role equals dialog, aria labeled by equals dialog title aria modal equals true, h2id equals dialog title /h2, button aria label equals close times /button /div. For drop-down menu, the code block would look like this: div class equals drop-down, button aria has pop-up equals true, aria expanded equals false, aria controls equals menu 1, options /button, id equals menu and role equals menu, aria hidden equals true, li role equals menu item, option 1 /li, /ul, /div. For progress indicator, the code block would look like this: div role equals progress bar aria value no equals 75 aria value min equals 0 aria value max equals 100 aria label by equals progress title, div style equals width 75%, /e, div id equals progress title, loading 75%, /div. Now let's discuss testing your ARIA implementation. It's essential to ensure your accessibility features work as intended. Some testing methods include keyboard navigation, where you test all interactive elements using only the keyboard, ensuring focus is visible and follows a logical order. Screen reader testing involves using screen readers like non-visual desktop access, job access with speech, or voiceover to verify that ARIA attributes convey the right information. Automated testing involves using automated tools to catch common accessibility issues. And user testing involves including people with disabilities in your testing process for real-world feedback. There are also some helpful tools such as Wave, which is a web accessibility evaluation tool that helps identify many accessibility issues, including ARIA misuse. Another tool is Axe DevTools, which is a browser extension that identifies accessibility issues in your code, including ARIA-related problems. And finally, Lighthouse, which is built into Chrome DevTools and provides accessibility audits, including ARIA attribute validation. Let's summarize ARIA best practices and resources. A best practice is to use native HTML when possible. Native HTML elements have built-in accessibility features. Only use ARIA when HTML can't provide the semantics you need. Another best practice is to keep ARIA simple. Don't overuse ARIA attributes, only add what's necessary. Also maintain states dynamically. Update ARIA states like ARIA expanded and ARIA checked when the user interface changes to reflect the current state. And finally, test with real assistive technologies. Verify your ARIA implementation with actual screen readers and keyboard navigation to ensure it works as intended. Here are some learning resources that could be helpful. There is the WAI ARIA Authoring Practices, which is an official World Wide Web Consortium guide with patterns and examples for implementing accessible user interface components. There is also the Mozilla Developer Network WebDocs on ARIA, which provides comprehensive documentation on ARIA roles, states, and properties with examples. And finally, the A11Y project, which is a community-driven effort to make web accessibility easier with patterns and resources. Thank you for making the web more accessible. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.